Okay, so I'm going to show you the grading method today. These sheets should be on Blackboard for you. If they're not, you can ask your unit coordinator about them. And this process, what I'm doing now is actually showing you how to grade physically with the patterns. An explanation of grading is on the PowerPoint. That should also be on Blackboard, and that explains the difference between the sizes and the increments, and and that sort of thing, and also has a step-by-step of this same sort of process. So yeah, you work with these sheets, and I've done up these little templates for each one. So to get started, and what I'm doing today is I'm working with a half-scale block as well, just so it's easier to get the whole thing in the picture. What you have to keep in mind though is that while the pattern is half-scale, these templates here are actually full-scale, and even though the measurements seem very small, it just goes to show how precise you have to be with your grading. There are only around the whole body there's only a 5 centimeter increase, and so divide that by 4 to get a quarter piece. The increments do end up small, so just keep that in mind. What's good about doing it in half scale is that the movements that I'm making are very obvious. So hopefully it'll be a way for you to click onto it more easily. In full scale, you're obviously working with something that's much longer and much wider. Okay, so we're going to start with the Dartless block, and this is to be exactly the same process for the front and the back of the garment. So I start by just drawing a line, and when you're grading this in full scale, you can start with that line quite close to the edge of the paper as well. You don't have to cut like a meter square and then center the piece, because what we're doing here, we're actually going across, we're moving it across and we're moving it down, and only by those small increments, so you don't need the piece, your pattern piece in the center of a very large piece of paper. Okay, so I've drawn a line. This is going to be my reference line. And now what I need to do, we're physically going to use these templates. So you print them out. And the reason I've printed them out and that we're doing it this way is because it can be a bit tricky. If you're working with measurements that are so small, it can be a bit tricky sometimes to get really accurate, because you're working with a grading rule. So what you would generally do is you would actually create this little template using your grading ruler, but I've just come up with this as a simpler method. Actually, what you need to do is just cut the pieces back, so the little line down the bottom there, which indicates the center front or the center back fold, goes right to the edge of both pieces, because that's going to line up with our reference line that we've just drawn on the sheet here. Okay, so we're positioning this. So what we need is a start point here. So we're going to go up to the top of the line, and you can see that I'm lining up the line on the cutout template with the line that I've drawn on the paper there, and then you can just get some sticky tape. And hopefully this won't be, that's easy. And so it take me 20 minutes to find the edge of the tape. So you just stick this in place so it sits on that line perfectly, and then just stick it in place with some sticky tape. And I'm using this, whatever this sort of tape is called, the one that's not clear, it's slightly opaque. Now we need this, so the top edge of the block will line up with that top edge there of our little template. So we just need, for the bottom section here, we just need this little template here to be above the hem of the piece that you're grading, because you're going to use that as a reference point to make sure that all of the lines stay parallel as you move across. So I'm just putting that there. It's probably it's a couple of centimeters above the bottom there. So again, I've lined up the line on the piece of paper here that I've just put on, lined that up with my construction line that I did originally, and then just stick that in place. Okay, so we've got our increments in place here, so now we can start grading. So what we're doing first of all and we've already, you know, in the PowerPoint it explains how this all works with the increments and the size of the increments. So what we're doing is we're lining the center front neck up with the start point here, and then we're just going to draw up around the neck and just sort of go all the way up to the top there. Actually, that's a mistake. Sorry.
And we're just doing one size grade, aren't we?
Yeah, this is just one size.
From a 10 to a 12.
Exactly. So I drew that line first. What I should have done first is actually move this across to increase the neck by 3 millimeters. So you can see I'm now lining the center front up with that line there, and down the bottom here I'm also lining that line up with the first line on our template at the bottom there as well. So again, like, it's only in full scale, it'll seem like a very tiny amount, but you know, it is the correct amount. So now I can go up towards the top there, and we just do the neckline, we don't do any part of the shoulder just yet. Okay, so we've increased the neck by 3 millimeters. Now we need 3 millimeters into the shoulder. So we go over to the next point here and to the next line at the hem here. So we've gone from center front to the first one. Now we're going from the first one to the second one here. So that's another 3 millimeter increase. And you can see our original neckline there. And now what we need to do for this one here is we need to draw. So we're drawing right down, so all the way from the neck point here, the neck over to the shoulder, down past the first armhole balance notch, and then down into the curve. Don't do all the way to the side seam. Stop as you get, you know, like down halfway between the balance notch and the side seam there. Just stop there. And that little wiggle at the end there was just my pencil. It's not necessary. Okay, so now that we've got our shoulder done, we can just go back now, and we have to fill in this point here. So we just sit on the corner there and just fill in the rest of our neckline to make the neckline complete. Okay, and that way our neckline, it goes across, but it also goes up a little bit. And the reason we do this is so that the shoulder line stays on the same angle as we're going along. Okay, so now we need to make the armhole bigger. So we've drawn right down into this curve of the armhole. Now the next step that we're going to go across the 6 mil, so we're making the armhole 6 mil wider, but we're also making the armhole 6 mil deeper so that we're coming down as well. So across and down. And once you get into the swing of it, what you will do, you won't actually need to go across and down. You'll just go from this point here down to that point there, and you'll do them like in one action as opposed to two. Okay, so I've nailed down on this bottom corner of my template here, and I've got the base center front down near the hem lined up with that final line there. Okay, and now I can draw, so you can actually see what I'm doing. Draw this across, so draw the rest of your armhole, and then we're going to draw all the way down to the hem. And then we're going to turn the corner and we're going to go over towards the center front here. Okay, so I can just lift that up to show you. So this was my original line, and I've done the two movements. So I've increased, and you can see the difference here. See how, you can see how that's got that much bigger. The armhole's got that much bigger. Now what I didn't do here, I didn't lengthen the side of the garment because this is quite long anyway. I didn't bother to add length in through the side of the garment because we're already getting length, you know, through the body because of the amount that we've added into the armhole there. So, but it'll depend on, you know, like what sort of grading you're doing, who you're grading for, what sort of garment it is. If you did want to add extra length in through the side seam on the template, you would have to add another row down of 6 mil or 1 centimetre or whatever that might be that you want to add in through the length. Okay, and because we've moved across, we've gone from the centre front all the way over to the side seam here. When we move it down, obviously this line's not going to go all the way back to the centre, but you can see by lining this up how much of an increase we've actually added through the width of the body. And now we just have to finish that off. So we're just going to do that last little bit by taking so that the hem matches up with our centre front. Okay, now I always think the fun bit of grading, if such a thing exists, is when you've actually done your grade and you can put your original size back onto the size that you've just graded. So you line up the centre front, and I'm lining up the hem as well because that makes the increases up the top here more obvious. So you can see that our neckline has got higher here, which is the length that we put through the armhole. The neckline at the shoulder point has got wider and also higher. Same on the armhole, it's got wider as well, and down into the curve. So the position between the shoulder and our first notch, that stays the same on each side, but on each size, but it obviously moves over. So the armhole's got bigger, the side seam's got further out, but the length has stayed the same. So what this is this grade is for one size only. So what normally our blocks would be a size 10. So by doing this, you've actually gone from a size 10 up to a size 12. Now, if you want to go through the same process using your original pattern, you'd have to make up some templates that doubled the size of these two templates here. Your other option, and probably the easier option because you only have to think about one set of measurements, is to cut this piece out once you're happy with the shape of it, and then use this piece to grade up to the next size. But the nice thing about having this on cardboard is that it's very accurate, and the precision of your grading will depend on how precise you are with cutting out this panel, this block, if you're going to use it to then go up to the next size. Okay, so you just have to be really accurate. Because we're working with such small measurements, things can blow out quite easily. And again, like I've got a really nice sharp pencil here. If you can use a pacer pen, mechanical pencil, that would be good. Never grade with a biro or what are they called? A marker pen, like what's that brand? Sharpies. So don't use a Sharpie, don't use a felt pen, don't use a biro. Use something that's really sharp and clean and easy to rub out as well if you make mistakes, like I did with that first line on the neckline there.
And an HB pencil too, not a 2B.
Exactly, because the softer the pencil gets, the thicker the line is, and the more smudged it'll get, and the less accurate it will be, especially if you're then cutting it out to go up to the next size.